All right, let's talk about motivation. Today, we're going to hack the science of actually getting things done. And it all comes down to one powerful little molecule that honestly runs the whole show: dopamine. I mean, have you ever had this happen? You've got a huge project, a workout you know you need to do, some big goal, and then poof, nothing. Your drive is just gone. Your internal engine completely stalls out. If that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. It's a battle we all fight. And the answer is actually hidden deep inside our brain's wiring. Okay, so first things first, we've got to bust a huge myth. We always hear dopamine called the pleasure molecule, right? Well, that's not quite it. It's really the motivation molecule. It's not about feeling good, it's about the chase to feel good. It's the chemical that literally gets you off the couch to go seek, to crave, and to pursue the things you want. And check this out. Not all dopamine hits are created equal. Not even close. A little piece of chocolate? Yeah, that'll give you a nice little bump. Sex can double your baseline level. But then you get to something like amphetamine, and boom, a massive 10 times spike. Now, those peaks feel absolutely incredible, but trust me, they come with a very, very serious price tag. And this right here, this quote from Andrew Huberman is the absolute key to everything we're going to talk about. It is a total game changer. It's not about how much dopamine you have in total. What really matters is how much you have right now compared to what you had a few minutes ago. That contrast, that difference, that's what shapes your entire reality of motivation and satisfaction. So this leads us straight to the core problem, what I call the dopamine roller coaster. See, every single time we get one of those huge spikes in dopamine, our brain has to balance the books. It's got to pay for that high. And the way it does that, well, that's what completely robs us of our everyday motivation. So let's think about that massive 10x peak again. Imagine your brain is just flooded with this chemical. For a moment, you feel unstoppable. You've got incredible focus, incredible drive. But what happens next is the part that really, really matters. Because the crash, it's not some gentle landing back to normal. No way. Your dopamine level plummets way, way below where you started. You don't just feel normal again, you feel worse. You feel unmotivated, flat, totally unable to enjoy anything. Every peak has a valley, and believe me, this valley is deep. And that brings us to your dopamine baseline. Think of it like your default level of motivation, your normal get up and go. The problem is, when you're constantly chasing those huge peaks, whether it's from social media, sugar, whatever, you are actively lowering that baseline. And the result? It takes more and more just to feel a tiny bit motivated, and simple, everyday tasks start to feel like climbing Mount Everest. Okay, so how do we get off this crazy roller coaster? How do we take back control? We have to look at what's happening biologically. I want you to think of your brain's dopamine supply, like a small, really fast-burning fuel tank. So your brain has this readily releasable pool of dopamine. It's basically a small supply that's ready to go at a moment's notice. When you trigger one of those huge spikes, you're essentially dumping the entire tank all at once. And what happens after that? Well, there's nothing left in the tank for just normal, everyday motivation. You are quite literally running on empty. But here's the good news. You are not powerless in this. Not at all. There are actual science-backed tools you can use to protect and even raise your baseline motivation. And you can do it without that damaging crash. So let's build your toolkit. All right, tool number 1, cold exposure. I know. But getting into cold water, and we're not talking icebergs here, just tolerably cold, maybe 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, it does something pretty amazing. It triggers this slow, steady, and really long-lasting release of dopamine that can actually elevate your baseline for hours, and the best part? No crash afterward. It's a genuinely healthy way to build a much more resilient motivation system. Next up, let's talk caffeine. Your morning coffee or tea doesn't just give you that jolt of energy. It actually makes your brain's receptors more sensitive to the dopamine that's already there. But if you want to level up, you might want to look at yerba mate. You get all the same benefits as coffee, plus it has compounds that are neuroprotective. They actually help protect your dopamine neurons for the long haul. It's just a smarter way to get your caffeine fix. And finally, a word on supplements. You'll see things like L-tyrosine or PEA out there, and yes, they can give you a really powerful but temporary boost in focus. But, and this is a huge but, you have to use these sparingly. Why? Because they work by creating a big dopamine spike. And we know what comes after a spike, right? a crash. So think of these as your break glass in case of emergency tools for a super critical deadline, not something you rely on every day.
Okay, so those tools are great for managing the chemistry side of things, but the single most powerful tool you have, the one that will truly let you master your motivation for good, it isn't a supplement, it's not a cold plunge, it's a fundamental shift in how you think about reward.
This is it. This is the whole goal. Stop chasing the reward at the end of the finish line. You have to learn to get that dopamine release from the effort, from the hard work itself. That right there is the secret to building truly unstoppable internal motivation. You know, there's this classic experiment that just nails this point perfectly. Researchers found a group of kids who absolutely loved to draw, just for the fun of it. Then they started giving them a gold star every time they drew a picture. Well, guess what happened when they stopped giving out the gold stars? The kids stopped drawing. The external reward completely hijacked their internal joy. It turned something they loved into a chore. And that's exactly what happens to us as adults when we only focus on the prize. So, how do you actually do this? When you're in that moment of peak difficulty, when you feel that friction and every part of you wants to quit, you have to consciously reframe it. You have to tell yourself, I chose this. This struggle, this is the point. You lean into that feeling. When you do that, when you embrace the effort, you are literally teaching your brain to release dopamine for the process of running the race, not just for crossing the finish line. Okay, so this all boils down to two golden rules. They're simple, but they are so powerful. Rule number one, don't spike your dopamine before the effort. That means no blasting your favorite song or scrolling through your phone just to get started. Rule number two, don't spike your dopamine after the effort with some big treat. You have to learn to let the satisfaction of a job well done be the reward. So let's wrap this all up. Your long-term motivation isn't about chasing those crazy highs. It's all about protecting your dopamine baseline. You gotta stop the big, frequent spikes that are leaving you feeling drained. You can use tools like cold exposure to build a stronger system. But the ultimate goal, the real win, is getting your dopamine from the effort itself. Look, this isn't just some interesting theory. It's a practice. It's something you have to do. So my question for you today is this. What is one small effort you're going to choose to reward yourself with? What's one difficult thing you can lean into today and tell yourself this is the reward? Just start there. That one small shift is the first step to mastering your motivation for good.